Hello. I actually had to, something was going on with my connection. So I actually had to go out and come back in. Hello. So we're actually having a conversation about, can men and women really be friends? Can the relationship really be platonic? And so we're going to get into it in a minute. I'm going to wait for a few more people to come in. I don't know what was going on. My screen was frozen for a minute and it just all went bad. So I'm coming back on now. Hello. How's your day going? That's great. Okay. So I'm glad that you are having a wonderful day. My day is going well. So we're going to get into this conversation. I want to go backtrack and say the previous conversation that we were going to have was geared towards the high school and college students, the ones that are going into the graduates, I should say, of 2021. We're going to push that conversation to August 4th. So if you know someone that wants to be a part of that conversation, just DM me if they want to come on a live. If you want to come on a live, DM me, let me know. If you have topics that you want to discuss, or if you want to come on, just DM me. So this conversation that we're getting into today is, can men and women really be friends? Can a relationship be really platonic? Meaning non-sexual, not an attraction, just friends. Like, I know for me, I have a couple male besties, and we're just friends. There's not been any funny situations or nothing. Like, we kind of grew up together and it's like a brother-sister relationship. So I was actually having this debate, this debate with a couple people who actually believe that men and women can't be friends at all. Like, there's always some type of attraction, that men always think sexually, so there's no way that it's possible for men and women to be friends. So I kind of want to get everybody's take on it. Also, is there cases where spouses have friends of the opposite sex, and how does that actually work? Is the other spouse okay with it, or are they hiding it? Like, do men hide their friends from their spouse, and do women do it? Who does it more? I kind of want to know you all's take on that. So let me know in the comments what you think. So I actually had a friend about a week ago. He wanted to have this conversation, and he and I have been friends probably like 12 years. So this is a different friend from the ones that I've been debating with or whatever. And so he tells me out the blue, like, and mind you, we've had conversations throughout this year, just about like different things that was going on with him, the kids, and all this stuff. So he tells me out the blue, like, I have something to tell you. So I'm like, okay, what? He's like, it's something like I've been keeping. So I'm like, okay, tell me. So he's like, I got married last year. So I was like, why you ain't tell me that? Like, congratulations. Like, why did you keep it a secret? And so he's like, well, we've been friends for some time and I don't want to mess up our friendship. And I was like, how would you mess up the friendship if you tell me that you got married? It's not a big deal. I'm cool. What's the issue? So he's like, well, I just didn't know. So I'm looking like, that's weird. What's going on? So I found out that he low-key has been digging me all of this time. But I'm looking like, okay, well, that conversation was never had, and we cool from a distance. The fact that you had to hide that is like suspect to me, because if we are friends, then you shouldn't have to hide nothing from me. I don't understand. And then when I asked him, like, does your wife know that we're friends? He's like, well, I'ma tell her. And I'm like, nah, this super duper shady, bro. So he ain't heard from me in a week, and I don't plan on talking to him, because I'm like, I don't have time for the goofy stuff. So I was actually telling another friend of mine about this instance that happened, and he was like, how did you not know? And I'm like, because I don't automatically assume that somebody of the opposite sex, and especially a friend, likes me. That's not my assumption, because I have male friends and we grew up together. I'm thinking, or if I have male friends that's probably over 10 years old still in my life, it's probably nothing there for us on my end, I should say. The fact that he's been holding that for all of this time, I'm looking like, bro, seriously? Whatever. Not my issue. So I really want to know, can men and women really be friends? Like, what do men think about their female friends? And are men really going to be honest about what they really think? And is it possible for people that are in relationships to have friends of the opposite sex? Is their partner okay with that? And if so, has there been instances, and I know because people have cheated, has there been instances where the friends wind up getting together? I actually had this conversation with someone else, and they said, of course, you know, you break up with somebody and your friend is there throughout the breakup, and you wind up getting with that friend. And I'm like, well, was that really a friend, or was that a rebound? I don't know. Sometimes people meet people and then they say that they're friends. So I'm like, I don't know if that was really a friend or was it a rebound situation. But this person said, oh, we were friends. We have been friends. She's been there through some tough situations. So, you know, she was really a friend, but we wind up getting together after a breakup. And I was just like, then that means that there was something more going on if you also willingly got into the relationship after you broke up with somebody. So that wasn't a platonic situation. That was you all was just waiting for the right opportunity, maybe. I don't know. But you all comment below and tell me what you think about this topic, because I think it's really interesting. There is another person that I had a conversation with prior to, what is he saying? So Track Saba is saying it has to be a level of trust and understanding when it comes to the opposite sex being friends. Yes, it has to, but are there instances where people hide how they truly feel and then it comes out at some point? Like, because this was a debate that I had, and it was like the debate kept going, and I was like, this is really interesting. You know, maybe we should have this open discussion. Is it really possible? And I agree, if there's a level of trust and understanding, and I think that especially if it's somebody that's been in your life for a while, and I'm not talking about somebody you just met last year and you like, yeah, we best friends. Like, no, I'm talking about somebody that's probably been in your life for maybe over 10 years or maybe since you were kids. But like, a lot of times you have that trust. Like, that's your go-to for a lot of things because you all have been in each other's lives for a really long time. And like, you all probably have shared moments, like maybe somebody passed away or you know, those celebrations or birthdays or just different occasions, you all have celebrated those things together. You all share common interests. And maybe it's like it became like a brother-sister relationship. But do those relationships ever take a turn? Is what I want to know. Since you said that there should be a level of trust and understanding, yes, I definitely agree. But is there a point where those relationships take a turn? And if so, who is the first one to actually make the move? I would like to know. That's probably that would be awkward if you've been friends with somebody for over 10 to maybe 20 years, and then all of a sudden they come out and they're like, yo, I liked you, and you be looking like, okay, all of this time you haven't said anything. Where is this coming from? I thought we was cool. Like, I know that was a thought in my mind, like, I thought we was cool, but you on something else. We ain't on the same page. So the same level that I thought we was on, we going in different directions. But you all let me know what you think. Hello for those of you who are just joining. So this is a really interesting topic, and the other thing that I have noticed is that there are, now let me go back before I make this statement. There was a what is he saying? Sometimes when those feelings come out, it can hurt friendships. I think it's a bit inevitable when you have known someone for so long. Yeah, that definitely damages a friendship. I think that if a person has feelings for someone, I think that they should be honest in that. And just say what it is. Like, I don't understand. Like, why put on a facade like you all are friends and it's just a platonic thing if you have more feelings than that? Like, just say it, get it out, and not sit and just wait like years to say something. I think that's kind of deceiving in a way. But there was a comment that Steve Harvey made. I don't know if this was like a month or so ago, where he was like, he doesn't believe that men and women can be friends. So he was saying that he doesn't have any female friends at all because there's like no way that men and women can be friends. So I was like, that's interesting, because he was saying how men are visual and all of these different things. And I'm like, okay, just because men are visual and they have a connection, or you all have a relationship in a friendship manner, doesn't mean that he looks at that woman as a potential partner or a potential buddy or anything else. I don't know. I don't think that all men necessarily think like that, but of course I'm not a man. So I want to know how men think when it comes to their female friends, because this is something that really needs to be discussed. There are a lot of, like, I equally have male friends, and I, like, my male and my female friends are equal, probably equal amounts. No, I might have a couple more female friends than I do male, but I have both. And so some of my friends have male friends, but the lines have been skewed. So now they're not like friends like they once were. So in their situation though, they don't have the years like a friendship, and they have only known each other for like a couple years or so. So for them, to me, that's different, because somebody that's entering your life a year, 2 years, you can be, friends with that person, but sometimes it will lead into something else. But when you're talking about 10, 20 years, I don't know about that. I don't think that it would lead into some type of attraction or something. At that point, I don't really think they are attracted to one another. But I don't know. What do y'all think about that? Because there's other people that have other things to say about it. Now, the other part is, what do you all think about your significant other having somebody of the opposite sex? Like, do you actually tell your significant other, this is my friend? Do they actually meet that friend? Is there and then is there some type of a jealousy situation? So, story time. I was in a relationship, and I told my now ex, about my male friends. I'm like, I have female friends. They are who, I named them. I have male friends. They are these people. And when I tell you, he acted like the only thing I said was, I have male friends. Like, that was the only thing that stuck out in his mind. So he was like, how long have you known these people, and are they really your friends? Do they really have your best interest, or do they really like you? And I'm like, they ain't never said they like me, so we've been friends for a long time, so I don't see it like that. We're not having like inappropriate conversations. So I don't see it going none of those ways, right? So he's like, men can't be friends with women. That's impossible. But yet he has female friends. So it was kind of like a double standard, because I'm looking like, if you got female friends, then what is the problem? I don't have an issue or take issue, with that. I think that it's okay, just as long as you all are not, doing anything inappropriate. I'm cool. Unless you give me reason to think otherwise. I'm that person. Unless you give me reason to not trust you. My relationship was with you. You told me that nothing else was going on. And so I'm going to believe that until I see differently, because I don't automatically assume that because somebody has a friend of the opposite sex that they are automatically messing around with them. So let me know in the comments, can men and women truly be friends? And is there times where funny business happens while you are in a relationship with somebody else? How does your significant other deal with the fact that you have a friend of the opposite sex? I know for me, he was not having it. Like, he was like, even though I'm like, you can meet him, you can talk to him, whatever. I don't have to be nowhere in the picture, in the vicinity when you have these conversations. You can have their number. He was like, nah, I'm cool. They could lie. And I'm like, but lie about what? Why would I give you information to somebody that I'm liking or I'm with secretly? Like, that makes no sense. It makes zero sense. But I guess there are people that are out there that have done things like this, because according to him, somebody he dated previously had said, like, this is just my friend. But I'm like, did she actually give you that person's information? did she actually say, you can have a conversation with them, you can talk to them without me being present, ask them whatever, you know. I'm like, I think these are two different situations. So anywho, that turned into some craziness because it was always an issue. So I actually limited my interaction with my male friends because he was like not having it. Although low key, I'm looking like my friends have been here before you got here, so they're gonna be here. If this relationship don't work out, they still gonna be there. But since you want to clown and you think that there's something else going on, I'm gonna just respect, you know, that, and, you know, limit my contact. And during that time, there was no face-to-face contact. It would be like maybe a phone call here and there, or text message, what's going on, you know, how's everybody doing type of situation. There was no real, like, how we would be like kicking it. Maybe it's game night, you know, maybe, you know, it's something going on. There was none of that, but they understood. So but no longer in that relationship. But yeah, so I'm like, I didn't understand. But for me, it's because I'm a woman that had male friends growing up. So it's like my perspective is different because I don't see that all men have to like me because they're friends with me, or there always has to be some type of attraction. Like my mind doesn't automatically go there. There was actually, and I know this is not exactly on topic, but there was actually an instance when I was with him and a guy opened the door for me. It just really got petty. A guy opened the door for me and he went ballistic. We were like out at the store and he was like on his phone. And I'm like, okay, I'm thinking he's behind me. He done stopped and he's down on his phone texting and I'm still walking. So I get to the door. He's not there. He's still standing closer to the car. So I'm like, what are you doing? So a guy just walks up because he's trying to walk in the door and I'm standing at the door. And he opens the door. I'm like, well, I'll just see you inside. So I'm inside waiting for him to walk up. He was like pissed. And I'm looking like, it's really not that deep. And he's like, well, if he opened the door, then he has to like you. I'm like, no, he was being a gentleman. He saw me standing there and just opened the door. Seriously. So it was just, some stuff got crazy. So I had to be done after a while because all of that is just too extra. But sorry, I'm reading. Okay, so for this conversation, I kind of want to get other people's perspectives, not just my own, because I don't went into a whole story time. But like, can men and women honestly be friends with nothing going on? Hello. For those of you joining, hello. Answer in the comments. What is your take on it? Do you have friends that you have never been intimate with and don't see that way at all? Or do you have long-term friends that you're like waiting for a moment to actually be like, yeah, let me slide in type of situation? Let me know. How does that even work? Like, I got comments on, let me see, having a level of trust and understanding, and then when a long-term friendship, when the feelings come out and it hurts the actual relationship, the friendship. But like, what is it to have a friend that you've been friends with, and maybe, let's just say you all have been friends since maybe you were like 8, right? And so this is like your homie. Y'all watch sports together. Y'all play video games. Y'all talk crap. You like, your families are like this. All of that stuff. You get married. She gets married. How does that work? How do you all remain friends? I kind of want to know your take on this. And is it biased to say that men and women cannot be friends, and men always think sexually when it comes to their friend? Like, they always see their friend as a potential buddy. I'm gonna just put it in a nice way, but is that biased to say? And are men the ones that usually make the first move when it comes to those type of situations? I know that, well, not I know, but I've heard stories about women who have made the first move, and they have done some pretty wild stuff. One of my friends that actually was gonna come on, I don't know where he is, but he actually had a woman that it was like, he thought they were friends. He thought like everything was like cool, and then the woman like kind of flipped on him because, you know, he was engaging, and not even like a real inappropriate conversation, via social media now. Like, he was engaging in a conversation with another woman via social media, and it was a public conversation, of course, because it was underneath the post that he had. And the woman was like going off and like setting these rules and boundaries and saying what he could and could not do. And I was like, that sounds crazy. Like, who is this person? And if y'all friends, then what? Like, it shouldn't even matter who you talking to or who you're interacting with. That just sounds really crazy. I'm like, but she probably was digging you from day one. She just didn't say anything. She was just sitting on the sidelines waiting for you to do whatever. Maybe she was waiting on you to make the first move, but you didn't. So she like, well, let me tell him what to do because she wanted him. And so she started doing some other crazy stuff, and it just got crazy. And I'm like, either you gonna have to you know, tell her to stop completely, or you gonna have to block her from your phone and all of that, because that's crazy. Like, it's a whole lot of stuff that he said, but I ain't gonna I'm gonna let him tell his story whenever he comes on here, because that was crazy. Then there was another conversation that I've actually had with an ex. Oh, that's the other thing. Can exes really be friends? And I think so. I think so. If there is if that sexual attraction that you all once had, or that relationship dynamic that you all had, if it has phased out completely to where you've never seen that person like that again after that, I think that could truly work. But that part would have to be mutual, because there's some, I don't know, mixed messages or whatever wires crossed, then it could be, you know, looked at a whole nother way. But I think that exes can be, to a certain extent, that one can get a little tricky depending on you all's level of understanding with one another, and if the other person is still attracted to you. There may be, I do have a couple exes that I am still friends with, and one of which we were friends before we dated, and we only dated for a short period of time, and after that it was like we were back to friends like it never happened. So that one has been, there has not been any like fishiness or any other situations going on. Like, we've dated other people, you know, I was engaged and all of that. He's now married, and we're good. Like, our friendship is different because we've known each other pretty much our whole entire lives. But like, we have gone back to that and been that for a very long time. So there's no, we don't even have that. I don't even know. We ain't got no funny business. Ain't nobody having no side conversations like what if or what this or whatever. Not happening. But I have another ex that I am friends with, and sometimes, you know, he hints at, let's give it another try, and I'm like, negative. It didn't work. It didn't work, so it didn't work for a reason. So nah, bro. Friend zone still. Let's just stay there. So I don't know. That one's not really working on the friendship part, because he's wanting more than what I want. So of course it's not that's something totally different. That's not a platonic relationship at all, because he keeps asking. But I want to know you all's take on this. Comment below what you all think. So there have been actual studies, and that's actually what I was trying to pull up, because I put it on my phone. Oh man. There have been actual studies done, and a lot of people say that men and women cannot be friends because there is a attraction. Like, there's always an attraction in some way, shape, form, or fashion. This is not third. So let's see. I'm trying to see if this is the article that I saved on my phone, because I'm not able to pull it up on my phone right now. So the one thing that they did highlight is that a lot of times spouses have problems with their spouse having someone of the opposite sex. Now, to me, if the relationship, or the friendship has occurred before the couples got together, and there's never been like a sexual relationship, I don't honestly see what the issue is. And to me, maybe there is some issue because of someone's previous experience with infidelity. So if someone has previously dealt with a cheating spouse or being lied to about who's who and what's what, then okay, hold on, there's a video request. Hold on. Did it do it?
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. What's going on? What you got to say? Hold on.
Well, I got to be on here and bring a psychological perspective to things. So, okay, couple of things. Number one, I don't think it's impossible to be friends with an ex, but I think it's challenging simply because there's history, and history produces memory lane. So sometimes when you're like hanging out with that person, if you're just on like friend status now, and hey, you remember that time that, oh man, that was so funny. And then you start traveling down memory lane and going, wait a minute, why did we break up? So that can sometimes be a problem because, we're all creatures of nostalgia to a certain point, Will Smith, I was just telling my sister about this. Will Smith has a whole song called Summertime, and he talks about the smell of a grill can spark up nostalgia. You think about barbecues and family reunions and stuff like that. Nostalgia is a very strong thing. And so when you're sharing it with someone else, it's a even greater experience. So you start to question, well, wait a minute, where did we go wrong? Why are we not together? Why aren't we, trying to work this out? You forget why you broke up in the first place, and then sometimes you try it again, and then you're like, wait a minute, I remember now, this is not going to work. So
Yeah, now I will say I did have a relationship that went like that. And then I was like, my bad.
yeah,
Bro, this not gonna work.
and then that presents a problem because then you're like, well, I guess we shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. Let's not do that again. And that's always going to be the cloud hanging over the two of you because hanging out is going to start that cycle over again. So unless you've got really strong willpower and you can avoid doing that, it's going to be hard. So that's the first thing. The second thing, you brought up cheating. I want to first bring up the different types of cheating. And I don't mean like, your lips accidentally falling on somebody else's versus like clothes just dropped off. I don't mean that. I mean like there's physical cheating and there's emotional cheating.
Yep.
And you talked about studies, and since I'm like the queen of research now, there was a study that I read a long time ago, and I can't remember if I think I used it for a paper. There are different reasons why people break up, especially if they're married. There's different reasons why people get divorced. But one of the big killers of a relationship is emotional cheating. Yeah, you can sleep with somebody else who's not, sleep with someone that's not your significant other, and that's going to make that person feel really bad and hurt and, like you can't ever be trusted again. Some people can talk it out and get past that. The emotional cheating is different. Guys function differently than chicks do. Our heart drives us, our brain follows behind, but our heart drives us, guys can disconnect, and I have some female friends who have learned the art of disconnect. And what I mean by that is guys
I know.
yeah, they can have a physical affair and it literally just be about the sex. It has nothing to do with, I'm emotionally connected to her or I want her in my life because I could make her wifey. It has nothing to do with that. It was like, boom, boom, I want all of that.
It's
Let's go
just
do
they
this.
want their needs met.
Yes.
So because they want their needs met, it's wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
And I did that a couple times back in the day, and I was like, I don't want you.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, so again, psychologically speaking, most of us who had like a Psych 101 class, we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's one of the needs. That's part of the hierarchy. So having those needs met, everybody needs that. Everybody wants that. The problem is, okay, think about this. All of these websites where people can find somebody else to hook up with, a lot of the dudes on there are married men. Why? Because they're not getting sex at home. They love their wives, absolutely adore the mother of
And
their
that
children.
was one of the things that I said in one of the videos. And I actually wanted, see, I be wanting men to come on and actually
I
have these
know,
conversations,
I
because
know.
men need to tell their significant others or other significant others, you cannot withhold sex. Men by nature
Yep,
are sexual. They are more
yep,
sexual than we are,
yep,
and they are visual.
yep.
Therefore, and they've been messing with all these chicks before you came in the picture. Now you want to tell them they're on restriction like they're a child, and then you withhold sex, and then you wonder why they off talking to Becky with the good hair because she listening to what he got to say.
You went there. You went there. Ooh, you went there. True though. True. Very true. See, that's the thing. I look at these see, you have to be an
Mario
involved
says in the
female.
comments, I can hold off on those cheeks. I'm a gentleman.
I can't. I can't. I mean, touche. Good for you. Thank you for that. We applaud you. We appreciate that because not all of you can.
Mm-mm.
But here's the problem. Okay, so like I've always talked about, especially with my female friends, about being an evolved female. And one of the things that makes you evolved is recognizing that men are visual. Men are gonna look. They're gonna look. You can't sit here and be like, I'm your everything. You can no longer look at any other women. It is all me all the time. That makes you A, really high maintenance. Two, like, for real, are you that self, whatever you want to attach to that? Self-esteem is
I'm
low,
gonna say because I'm a
self-absorbed.
look.
I, I mean, so you got to let a guy look because, like you said, they're visual. They need to see that. And yes, that look may turn into, wonder what she like bent over. That's a thing. And you have to accept that that's a thing. However, just because he's looking doesn't mean he's going to go run tap that. I mean, they're visual. It's just I need eye candy. I need to see that. Um, you have to allow them to do it. When you start becoming super restrictive, that's when think like, hold up, wait a minute. I was doing this before you got here. What you mean I can't look and I can't, same thing, and I'm about to get real technical, real into it right now, okay? I also think about the chicks who would be like, and I know that this is kind of what splits the chicks, splits the female population. Oh my God, I caught my boyfriend masturbating. Like, I'm so hurt. Why are you hurt? Why are you hurt? He's having fun with himself, not another person. Like, you should welcome that. You should allow that to happen all the time. Well, it's not me. He's not having sex with, doesn't mean he's not going to have sex with you, but you weren't there at the time. Or the urge just hit him and he needed to just do that real quick. Like, you gotta let men be men, because restricting them turns you into like a mommy figure, and a lot of guys don't want that, need that, care for that. Thank you, next.
I think that when it comes to men looking, I think that there should be a certain level of respect if their woman is right there. If their woman is right there, that should not be your whole head going around, because I'm be like, well, bro, if you can look, I'm gonna look at a dude. We just gonna both be looking like,
I mean,
what?
let's just agree to that. We both have eyes. Those eyes are gonna move. If they land on something attractive, okay, and then I'm gonna focus on you again. Like, It's
is
not
saying,
her.
do you read this? You see this comment?
Honestly, all I need is someone who's goofy, responsible, and affectionate, and I'd be so faithful. Okay, so can we like clone you? Because there's a whole line of us who are like, I'm here. Just saying.
But you know what? And this is, I think that maybe we generalize men and say that they're all sexual. Maybe they're
Yeah.
not all sexual, and some have self control, but the population of those who have self control,
But then you have to question why don't they have self-control? What has happened to make
they're
them
not
have
taught
no regard?
this. Men
Well,
are, think about it. If you were born, if you were born a male, would your dad be like, yeah, go talk to, this woman here, this woman, you know, see what you like before you settle down?
yeah,
As a female, we're taught the complete opposite. Keep your
double
legs
standard.
closed until, Jesus comes or you get married, whichever one happens.
But this is double standard. But here's the other part of that. And I hate to do this to our people, so bear with me. Some of that depends on the type of home you're coming from. If you're coming from a two parent home, typically you're gonna get mom telling the boys you need to be respectful, you need to wait until marriage. So boys are hearing that from their mothers, but the fathers have a little more influence. And so, man, back in the day, I used to be out there tapping, and so the nostalgia
Tap
story.
tapping away, huh?
There you go. So those nostalgia stories come in, and then the son's like, "Oh yeah, man, dad had game. I want to be like that." So even though mom might be saying like you need to be respectful and you need to wait and you need to find a nice girl who's gonna have your back and all this other stuff, that might be in here somewhere. But the tap 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 came came in clear, much clearer. So I
That's
mean,
the only
and
thing they
then
heard. That was the only
it's the only
takeaway.
thing I heard. Like, and okay, so then for the girls, you hear mom still saying you need to wait, you need to find someone respectful who's worthy of you and all this other stuff, and then you have dad being super protective and you can't date until you're 35.
That is true.
Okay, but my brother, you just said like he can be out there just like tapping on a tree like a woodpecker, but I'm supposed to sit here and wait until middle age, like what? So we give mixed messages, double standards.
His sounds is all about Tame and Winky.
Oh my God.
I feed it occasionally and release it to roam the park for exercise. Then it's back in his cage.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
That's a good one.
I'm dead. I
Never
appreciate
heard
your
it
honesty
quite
though.
like that.
I appreciate the honesty. Like I'm dead though.
Oh my goodness. Who says this?
That's crazy. But you know what? That's the kind of honesty we need. I think sometimes men don't feel like they can fully be themselves in that way with whoever they're with because let's face it, some of us are really insecure and the slightest thing hurts our feelings. And so if a guy tells us, hey, sometimes I need to let Winky out and then I'm going to put him back in and you can have him later, promise. Well, why do you have to let him out at all? And then there's all these questions and concerns and well, does that mean that doesn't mean he's not into you, but it's an urge and he should let him fulfill his
Yeah,
urge
that's like his itch.
one
He
on
got a
one.
scratch.
Let him scratch it. Because if you don't let him scratch it himself, he will find another hand to scratch for him, and it won't be yours. So you gotta just chill. You gotta relax. You
But
know.
it's funny because women don't really want to have, like, they'll have these conversations with other women, but they won't have these conversations with the opposite sex and men too. Like, I don't understand why we're not having these conversations in a room with one another because it's needed. Because a
Hmm.
lot of the times, and I'm not going to necessarily say cheating because cheating in itself is not even a word when it comes to relationships. But the agreement and the trust of whatever you all had going on in the relationship has been broken. So now, how has that happened though? Like, it usually happens in my mind, it usually happens emotionally first. It starts with
Mhm.
that one conversation with,
Wait a minute. I
what
can't.
did he
He's,
say?
he's killing me. He said, if we do the things we're insecure about in front of each other, there would be an unbreakable bond. True. And then he says, sing to Winky softly, and it melts in your hand.
I'm done. I'm done.
But why can't we have these conversations with each other? I mean, he's got a point. He's got a point. You need to be able to
Is this
be this
sex
type of honest.
101? Are we giving sex 101?
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I actually thought about being a marriage and family therapist that specialized in I don't want to call it sexual dysfunction, but like on that level. There are some therapists out there that will get really personal about having sex and show you things. I didn't want to do all that, but I did feel like these kinds of conversations are necessary because people don't do it, especially folks who've been together for a while. The insecurities set in sometimes, and they're not honest about that. If you're not honest in the beginning of the relationship,
You're not
and
going
I
to be
mean,
honest years down the line.
right. So that's a problem. That's a huge problem.
I'm going to need him to cut it out. Sir, have comments on the topic. Stop the madness.
Well, he did before. He's gonna give a 1-2 punch. He's gonna like comment on the topic and then come in with the second.
Right. I see.
I'm here for that though. I think I'm here for that. It's working. No, but I think a huge part of this is we don't have these conversations like you said. We're not honest about it. But it's also because we're taught we're not supposed to. We're conditioned. It's not I grew up being told by our grandmother and my other grandmother, it's not ladylike to have those kinds of conversations. It's not ladylike. Most of my friends were boys growing up, not because I was boy crazy, but boys didn't deal in as much BS as young girls do. And I
Boom.
didn't have patience for that. Which is why I
Boom.
have a very small
And
circle of
that,
female friends.
man,
I can't.
that is exactly why, as a kid, number one, I couldn't relate to females then because they was too busy wearing purses, trying to be cute, and I was like, cute for what? We going outside. Like, what are you doing?
I'm about to do
I'm
double
about to
dutch.
go
What you
get
need
in the
purse for?
I'm about to get in the dirt with the boys. We about to climb the fence. Like, I don't know what y'all on, but the tree, the fence, the dirt, I'm
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Well, see, and I remember that when we were little because by me being older than you, I was a little more aware of why that was necessary, but not necessarily desired. Being girly, I mean, and wearing the purses and putting on the key. I mean, I did that, but not to the extent that other girls were doing it. Like
I didn't
they
like
did
it.
it to, well, they did it to sashay in front of boys. I didn't do that until I was like 15. By that time, because I
Well,
wasn't allowed
dang,
to
we
wear
did the
makeup.
same thing.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to, but my household was strict. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup until I was
No
15.
makeup, no
A
fingernail
clear,
polish,
it had to be
clear.
clear finger polish. I mean, and then I was going to church every Sunday, so I had like dresses that came below my knees, and I had to sit a certain way, and it was a very strict upbringing. So there wasn't like that focus to be girly and get boys' attention. I was taught my books were way more important because my books were what was going to save me as an adult, not some boy. So by the time I was
I don't
like,
know if them books
oh,
really saved us though.
they didn't save my wallet, I can tell you that. But anyway.
Right? I'm like, student loans, nail net, Sally Mae,
Ooh,
to
ooh. No.
$249.
Mm, let's not
I
talk about
don't
that.
I don't like y'all.
Might as well have gone to school to become a doctor because at least in the end I would have been able to pay off the student loans because I'm almost there anyways. So there's that. But anyway, another conversation. We'll talk about debt another time. But yeah, you and I were never those girls who just like traveled in packs of girls and did I didn't go to the bathroom with the girls to go talk about I had my period at 11. Sorry, I'm about to get graphic, y'all. And I was one of two girls in middle school, like in my class, who had it at that time. I was what, sixth grade. So here I am being all embarrassed, like, well, great, now this is happening. So that means puberty is not gonna hit me, and I'm gonna be taller than all the boys, and have because I was starting to fill out, like I was kind of filled out already. So that's noticeable, and now they're looking at me and they're going, "Ooh, she has those," and I'm really uncomfortable and I don't know what to do with myself. And the only other girl who's going through the same thing is totally different than I am, so she's not. I mean, she was white, so she wasn't as shapely. She wasn't as, and then she was kind of a wallflower
She
anyway. So
wasn't cornbread fed.
you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, her parents were Croatian, so yeah, it's a total difference. So I just wasn't, I was so self-conscious about becoming a woman that I didn't dive into chick things because it wasn't appealing. It just wasn't appealing. I wanted to still play with Barbies. I wanted to still like go outside and run around. I still wanted to, like I just wanted to be a kid, and here I was slowly turning into a woman. And I'm just, I don't want any part of this. Like, what? I don't know. I can't just
I
run my overall.
understand that.
You
I
know.
started mine right before I turned 10.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Right there.
Right there.
Right there.
And you're still a child trying to navigate.
5th grade, okay? On your
Man.
period. At this time, I was at a new school. This is when we first moved out here. At a new school,
Oh,
I was looking like, what? I had boobs by then. They was little. They was in the jockey bra, but I was taping them down because your girl didn't like her boobs. And
they got in the way.
I like, you know what? So that, you know what? It was convenient too because I play basketball with the boys. So you can't possibly have boobs that they knocking into and all of that other stuff. So it was good to be taken down. I wore jockey bras. I didn't want nothing cute. I liked overalls, and my
Mhm.
mama was so concerned. She was
I
like,
remember.
are you gonna like girls?" Like in her mind.
He
And
was
then
trying to prepare herself.
she didn't want me to like boys, but she didn't want me to like girls. I don't know. I don't
Mixed
know.
message. But
But
I
I
think
didn't
that
even
gave us
like
an
those
advantage.
boys. I thought they was stupid. Like I would look at them
Yes.
and be like, "You're dumb."
But it gave us, if you think about it, it gave us an advantage for two reasons. Because one, we got a better understanding of the male perspective because we were around to hear their conversations and how they interact with each other. And they typically thought of us as just one of the guys. So we were kind of in on the conversations too. But also, we got to see how they
Operate.
with women, how other girls. Like, we got to see that,
Mhm.
like, is that what
I'll
you
be
do? That's
like,
your game? Like,
I ain't about to
really?
be like that. So
And it was easier being friends with boys because they were just straight up. There wasn't this cattiness. There wasn't this
yes.
competition. It wasn't a and that's what bothered me the most. The competition that girls and then later on women seem to have with each other. They can be friends. That's why we get to
And I
have the
don't
term
understand
frenemies.
that. Why? What are we competing for? Like,
Don't
when
know.
did this become the women's Olympics? The heck?
And the prize is a guy. Not to knock y'all down, but the prize is a guy, as opposed to a new car, a brand new house, a vacation in Tahiti. Like it's a guy. Why am I fighting over a guy? Like, I don't understand. I had this friend in college, and she was so head over heels, the dude she was dating at the time. And she was like, "Oh my God, I can't wait for you to meet him," and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. Then I was with a different set of friends, and there was a girl who was brought into that circle. And she was like, oh my God, I just met this guy. We just started talking, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh God, I don't even want to hear this. She started saying some things about him, and I was like, huh, that's what my friend was saying about her boyfriend. Then it dawned on me,
They dating
they're
the
dating
same
the same
person.
guy. You've got to be kidding. Now, normally, I would keep my mouth shut, but that tends to be hard for me sometimes. So I went and told my friend, look, I know that you're in love with this dude and y'all been dating for a while, but I don't think he's just dating you. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, there's this girl I just met, and she said this, that, and the other, and that was what you told me last week, and sounds like the same guy. She's like, it can't be. I'm hoping it's not. But so somehow, I guess they had a mutual friend that they didn't know, or they kind of were in the same circle, whatever. So side piece is what I'm going to call her, found out about my friend. They got together. Now, my friend was the type of person who was like, oh, I'm going to beat her. Well, why are you beating her for? He's the one playing both of y'all. Why are you going after her? She, first of all, give her the benefit of the doubt. She may not have known which was the case, because he told side piece he was single, just out here in these streets, just trying to find somebody, and, oh, boo, you cute, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, telling my friend, girl, I love you. You're the one for me. Like, I'm going to make you wifey one day, all this other stuff. They had, the two of them had beef for a second until I was like, you guys, again, he's playing both of you. You need to join forces and go after him. You're going to whoop somebody, go for him.
He going to say shout out to side piece. I'm done. You say all types of madness. I just haven't said nothing. Keep going.
I can't. Foolishness. So they cornered him, and let me tell you, I have never seen somebody look so much like a deer in headlights. He was just like, because they planned it. They actually came together on a good plan. Friend called him over. Side piece came around the corner and was like, oh, hey, how you doing? And he was kind of like, oh, damn. So, needless to say, they both quit him. And in my dumb head, I'm like, oh, well, maybe they can be friends. I don't know why I thought that. I guess being naive, because women don't work like that. I can't be friends with you, even though I can agree we both need to check him. I can't be friends with you, though, because you had him too. But he played both of you. This is my rational, I thought at the time, thinking. He played both of you. You should just be a united front, period. Women should be doing it. I know.
I don't know. I don't know about that one, because I don't know if I could be friends with somebody that
Well, I don't want, and I'm not necessarily meaning besties, but can you at least be cordial? They were like, anytime they were around each other, it was like, I'm going to ignore you being here. To me, that felt weird, because you had a shared experience, although it was a negative one. You can at least just give each other a head nod. Like, they treated each other like they hated each other, and it was like, why? He was the cause of all that, not the two of you. So you gonna take it out on each other?
I mean, I didn't know you before this. I still don't know you. That's my stance.
Well, I'm a different type of chick, and I have to remember.
I know you, so
you know,
we ain't got to be buddies.
True.
Bye.
Bye, girl.
But
On
a good day, I would have never interacted with you. So maybe
that was the case. Maybe that was the case. They realized that they didn't have anything in common and wouldn't have been on that level anyway. And if that's the case, cool. But I guess for me, and that was part of my evolution. If I'm dating somebody and I find out that they're stepping out with somebody else, I'm not going for her. I'm going to alert her, because first of all, no, this is why. I need to see, did you know? Because it's different if you did know, because now you're trying to break up a relationship. Now I got a problem with you. But if you didn't know, then he's playing both of us and he doesn't deserve either one. So I'm going to handle the situation differently, which is why I'm going to approach her first. Now, I'm going to act accordingly depending on the information I find out. He's still dead to me either way because
No,
I'm
I'm
not going to
gunning for
tolerate
him
that.
first. I'm coming for you, nigga.
Well, no, but, well,
That's how I do. I don't want to hear what she got to say. My relationship was with you. So if
that is
you
true.
went and did you, oh, all right. I'm coming for you.
You got to come for him either way. You got to come for him because
I don't even look at
he
the
knew what he
women.
was doing.
Honestly, I'll be like, you're not a factor. This is between me and him. So I had that to happen with one of my exes. And I actually met the girl. And he told me after the fact. We had a conversation after we broke up. And he said, you actually met the girl. You talked to the girl. I said, so you want me to beat the brakes off yours. That's what you want me to
See,
do. And so
okay,
I was like, so you
that's
allowed me to talk. He was like, yeah, y'all was both at the bar together this day. And I was like, why would you bring her to a place where you know that I am disrespectful? All right, nigga.
that is disrespectful.
All right.
I do have a
But I
problem
went
with
clean.
it.
I went clean off. Like I clowned. I acted a fool. His friends had to talk to me. You know, whatever. And when he told me we was in a public place, and mind you, this was like some other event that we was at, and I just went ballistic. But yeah,
See, I think I am involved, but I'm also an Aries, and I strongly feel it has that creates a difference in how I approach something. I'm not gonna go off. I'm not gonna go off. I may be raging inside, but I'm not gonna go off because what I need you to do is be afraid. Because now you don't know what I'm gonna do because I'm way too calm right now. So
he
you should
gonna
work.
say maybe he forgot he was talking to
I
someone
saw
else.
that.
Sometimes us men forget everything when a new tenderoni arrives. The problem is these guys game and sweet. They need to learn how to cheat respectfully. How about not do that at all? How about that?
Thank you.
If you
Thank you.
need to go to the left, then
Okay.
walk over to the left and let me know that
And so
somebody
there,
is over to the left.
just stay in the left. Like, don't come back and right. Just stay in the left. Okay. Okay. Mr. Mario, let me ask you this question then. What is the purpose of being in a relationship if all you can do is step out on one? Like, don't be in a relationship at all. Just stay single, party with whoever you want,
But
and
guys
never.
don't do that. We know for a fact guys don't do that. Even my male friends, I'm like,
Oh, he's a
why?
puppy dog.
Whatever. I'm not even listening, looking at you, Mr. Comments.
He
That's your
just
name now, Mr. Comments. You are not even contributing to the conversation. Talking about, come on,
he's a puppy
give,
dog.
give me,
He's
give me a real comment
he's just
on
here for the
this.
belly
Give me
rubs.
your perspective for real. Why you trying to joke? Let me know the real. No, but I think guys, for for some guys, it's like sport, and it's an ego boost to have multiple women. But to me, it's like it's guys that have died behind having multiple women. Like women have snapped and killed them, or set them up,
There's
or
a whole show about that. So yes.
I mean, you know, snapped. Yeah, I actually like that show.
He said I'd never cheat. I was just kidding. Everybody talks to everybody talks to everyone about their relationship and allows others to creep in. Okay, well, yes. But well, here's the thing. You want to be able to vent and maybe have someone talk you off the ledge because I know in relationships for me, yes, I have talked to my mom and she's talked me off of a ledge if she stopped me from doing something irrational.
But
So
have you
I can
talked to
say
the
there's that.
opposite sex?
Yes. Yes,
And that's
yes I
what
have.
he's saying. He's saying
Yeah.
that those things make them, those are the things that make them unfaithful. So like having those conversations about what's going on in a relationship with the opposite. I've done that. That ain't that ain't gonna make me go off with the dude. Like if we friends, then we're friends. Back
Hmm.
to men and women being friends. We're friends. So I'm not about to go off with him, but he can give me a perspective that maybe I didn't
Yeah.
have. And that's what actually happened while I was engaged. The funny thing is, a couple of my male friends, I was like, okay, why is he acting like this? I thought I knew men. I thought, y'all tell me I'm niggerish. So I thought I had this damn peg. I don't know what's going on with bro. So they
Mhm.
like, do this, give him a chance here, do that. I'm taking their advice, and this nigga like, so he was acting more feminine than he was masculine,
Okay.
and that was the switch. He's not as masculine as I'm used to.
Okay.
So the stuff he was doing, I'm like, they giving me advice, and I thought the advice was pretty good, but this ain't working for you. What is he saying? So, but
Oh, yeah. Okay, I can see that.
vented to the devil, aka standbys will eventually go south. But it take to me,
Hmm.
I would rather break up with you and do my dirt if I'm gonna do that. I would rather break up with you, do my dirt, and then be like, okay, do we want to get back together, make it work? Rather than actually be in a relationship and cheat. Like, I'm telling you, like, I'll be like, you
It's
know
so
what? I
much
need a
more
break.
work.
I need time to myself. And if that's what I want to do during the time to myself, and maybe, I don't know. But like, it wouldn't be to the person I've been it with. So I will say
Yes, the people, those standbys. He's got a good point. Those standbys, you do have to watch who you vent to, which is why
yeah.
the male friends that I would vent to now, they're all married, and a lot of them are the spouses of my female friends. So, and I'm never
Mm.
my female friends, I'm not disrespecting them. So I might say like, well, okay, let me ask you your perspective since you're a guy. Like, what do you? Because a lot of my friends are married now, so I can still get
I'm
get
too.
perspective on things without it being awkward or weird. Because I'm cool with both of them, both of the people. But you do have to be careful about who you go to. That's the problem with like talking to your siblings about it, because then your siblings want to advise you to do A, B, or C, and then they want to act differently when the person you're dating comes around because they know the dirt already. So now they start treating them different
But
or being
how
silly.
how not? I mean,
You got to keep composure because it's not their place to have comments. It's one
I
thing to say
know.
something to me like, I think you can do better, or he's not the right one for you, but you can't then start acting shady to him because you know stuff that I've said, which is why you got to be careful with who you're telling stuff to. Now, if it's a single male friend that you're trying to get perspective and he's like low key been into you and just waiting for the right time, then yes, now you're vulnerable. Now
That
it's
is
easier for
true.
him to find his wedge and be like, all right, well, the relationship's already breaking down. I just need to figure out how I'm going to get in there.
And
So,
you know what? I did have a friend that did this.
hmm.
I thought that we were actually friends, and he waited until I broke off my engagement to be like, I've been digging you the whole time.
Oh, oh,
I'm
oh,
like, but I've known you for like 5 years. Bro, when was you gonna open your mouth? I done been single for most of the 5 years, and here you go. You wait until. So that's my next question. Do people who have been engaged or married look more appealing
yes,
to people of the opposite sex
yes.
after it's over?
No, you're more appealing when you're harder to get. Men like a chase. Men have always liked the chase. That's the
I
whole
know, but
hunt.
it's like,
The hunt.
why would you, why? I was like, why? Why did you wait all this time? Er,
Because when you were single, I always had an opportunity. Now that you're taken, I have less of an opportunity. When you're engaged, that opportunity is almost completely shut off. And if you're married, the opportunity is missed. So if I know that there is a crack in the foundation of your relationship, oh, my chance just came back. So because I missed out all this time, now I'm going to go for it. Or now I'm going to weasel in. And now if you're, and I hate to say it this way because I don't believe all men are like this, but when a chick has ended a relationship, especially if it's a long-term one or something where she was engaged or whatever, it hurts more. And you really are vulnerable. I don't think men are necessarily knowing predators. I don't think that's like
No, they are.
a conscious thing. Not all the time, but I think that instinct to
By
finally,
nature.
yeah, it's just that
By
instinct to go
nature,
in.
yes.
So I feel like that's the difference.
What is he
So
saying?
he said I can sniff unhappiness. Whoa, he did call himself a puppy. They do have good senses.
Unfortunately, every woman friend I slept with, whether they were taken or not.
I
I
tried not
found
to react to that one.
a best friend of the opposite sex is your soul mate, not just physically. You know what? I believe that soulmates don't have to be sexual. I'm gonna be honest. I believe that you can have a soulmate and it's just that person that gets you down to the core. They've seen you in
That's
all aspects. Somebody that is your person almost, but you all are not in that sexual attraction type of a relationship. So I believe that you can have a soulmate that is not relationship based or physically
Mhm.
uh have some type of physical attraction to. He said, "Oh Lord, I'm not reading that." uh, are you confessing, sir? Are you confessing your sins? This is not a confessional. You might have to go to mass on Sunday for that because
You basically she's telling you you're gonna need prayer. Like let's just call it a spade. But many fall in love with that soulmate and don't even realize. Yes, because they mistake that feeling for just a deep connection on a friend level, not realizing it's more than that. And I really feel like that's when we're lying to ourselves because, you know, I think for most of us there's always that we've thought about it like, man, we'd probably be a decent couple. Then it's followed by, but I don't want to lose this friendship. And then that you push that thought out of your head and you keep it moving. So as you are getting closer to this person and having more shared experiences and um, realizing that this person is your soulmate, then it turns into, you know, you forget that attraction can be more than just on a friend level. Like it, yes, that's a soulmate, and that's your number one person, always there for you, and all that stuff. But the best of lovers start off as really great
with
friends.
friends. That is very true. And I
Uh,
did say the person I do actually decide to marry will be a friend. What is Are you going to actually comment and contribute to this conversation,
or
sir?
is this your awkward way of really telling her how you feel? Because I'm starting
What
to
is
think,
going
like,
right? I'm like, what is going on
I'm
in this
thinking
conversation?
he's putting his heart out here, but has to, do it behind the guise of humor because it's, a recorded video.
What is Explain to me what is going on in this thing? Ooh.
That's the message I got.
Oh wow.
See?
Well, doggone it. I was about to say something.
This conversation just took a turn.
Right. I'm like, well, all right. I thought we were just talking about if men and women can really just be friends.
Look, clearly the two of you are friends, and
Yeah, we're friends.
he's trying to get out of that
He's
zone.
he's saying no. He's saying not anymore. Is that what you're saying? What are you saying? Let me not ask these questions.
You probably should, because he's very honest and will answer each and every one.
Really?
Is there a heart in the house tonight? Stand up. I guarantee you he's standing up wherever he is right now. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Oh Lord. This is not what we were talking about. Back to the topic at hand.
But I want to throw out that I think it's really funny. This is the first time I'm drinking tea, and I'm sipping the tea now.
Right. I'm over here. My wine is getting low.
Well,
Alrighty.
you don't need to fill her
Well,
up.
I guess
So
that
back to our topic. I do want to say I think I don't like I said I don't think it's impossible for men and women to be just friends. I think there are a lot of factors that play into it. If you have dated before and the relationship is over, I think there is a very, very fine line with trying to just be friends, because the problem is always going to be, like I said earlier, that connection, that the shared experiences, the nostalgia of it. And then if if one of you ends up with another person that, let's say, turns out to be your soulmate, now you're getting married to them, and the other person might feel some type of way initially, because now you know, if you ever thought about there was a chance of getting back together, that's completely over and done with. So there's it's just situational. I think it's really situational. Is it possible? Yes. Is it difficult? Very much so. Will it work out? It's up to the people.
so
So it's
I
possible.
have
A
a
lot of people don't spend
friend
a lot
that
of
is my
one-on-one.
ex, but
Mhm.
also a friend. That makes sense. So
I
my
think you can
friend,
say being unpredictable is part of a good connection. But he's right. It's possible, as long as you don't spend a lot of time one on
one
one.
on one. Hmm.
He said I'm light skinned, so I get very emotional. I'm dead. I'm upset. I
He's
came back to
getting
life.
emotional like Carl Thomas. Okay. Oh, Drake emotional. Okay. Champagne Poppy. All right.
Let me put this tea down because I'm about to choke apparently. Let's not choke live.
But so no, my friend and I have been friends for since we were in the womb, right? And then
Mm.
we dated for like 3 years. So I'm 36. Three of those of those years was spent dating. The rest were being friends. Now
Okay.
he's married. Um, we have not doubled back to anything. We do have, but we have a lot of memories, period, because it's a long time.
Right.
So those 3 years does not define the whole 30 plus years. So let's talk about our friendship not health. No, this is just an example. So he's a friend, but he's also an ex. But
Hmm.
because of the length of time that we've been friends, we have more memories as friends than we do in our relationship.
Okay.
So for us, it works. Like, but we've gone to each other even in our relationship. Like, he would come to me like, okay, this is what's going on. What do you think about this? And I'll give him my honest opinion. He's the same way, but we both Virgos. So we actually think alike. Our whole everything is just alike because we're both Virgos. So in that instance, that's actually rare for an ex to be a friend like that and not really have all of the nostalgia that you were talking about, because there's more of a friendship than the actual relationship. He said he's an ex-friend, not an ex-friend.
He said that he is when I'm around.
But I don't know. I don't know if exes can really be.
Well, I think the difference in that particular situation is he's very focused on his relationship. I mean, he married whoever it is, and he's, probably very devoted to that. I guess the question would be, how often do you guys talk? Do you see each other? Do you hang out with him and his significant other? Like, those would be
So
other factors.
he's been down
Smurgle,
south for
smurgle,
some
so
time.
what? Well,
He's
Mr.
been down
Mario.
south for some time, so we only see each other physically when he comes up here.
Okay.
Um, he's only been married for a year or so.
Also recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he said she knows, and I'm like, okay, well, are we gonna meet? Gonna talk? Let me know. But
Yeah.
he clowning. He's clowning on this live. We have someone that is very funny on this live in the comments, really, making our nights. But with that, we don't see each other often. We haven't, even when we were dating, our relationship wound up being long distance. Like, he's from here, but we
Okay.
went to two different schools. So he would come up here to visit me, every so often. But we would be on the phone every day from night all day, like glued. Even as friends, we would stay on the phone all the time because we'd be talking about a whole lot of stuff.
Right.
Really cut all types of stuff on this live. Anyway, we've talked about a lot of stuff, and it's not sexual at all. None of it has been. So when I was in my relationship, he said, I'm killing you with the stories, but this is honest conversations. Like you said earlier, it's an honest conversation. When I was engaged, he was actually giving me advice about my fiance, ex-fiance now, but he wasn't even with the person he's with now. And he was giving me that advice, and some of it worked and others didn't, because I realized that my ex-fiance wasn't as masculine as I thought. He was a little bit more emotional, and his rationale behind certain things, I feel like, were emotionally driven. And he'll be like, well, you're using your head. I'm thinking with my heart. I'm like, look at my face. Use your head, bro. It doesn't make sense, but whatever. So, he's clowning. In that instance with that friend, that's different. Now, I've had exes that well, actually one in particular, that we were back and forth. So that really didn't work. The lines was all skewed and all jacked up. And now I'm at the point where I'm just good. Like, we tried, it didn't work. We good.
Right.
So for that, in that aspect, in that regard, that whole ex thing does not work as a friend. So that part, yeah, because then we start talking. How we always get back together is we start talking about old stuff. And then it kicks off a relationship. Whatever. Next. So back to the whole, when we were talking about the withholding sex part, That was
Yes.
something that I talked about on another live, but we can have that conversation because when we were talking about how men and women operate and how we're taught, and I think society also tells us we're supposed to contain ourselves until, we get married. So not just our upbringing, but society, for the most part, traditionally, not 2020/2021 society, because everybody getting it equal, everything. I don't know what the heck is happening. Everybody want to be a thought pocket, and it's okay. I don't know. Everybody running around. They're running amok. but
Yeah. Yeah.
but like when men get married, they think that they're going to have like this crazy sex life, a lot of them. Like we're just gonna have he's gonna say withhold it and just give me a tax credit. Shut up.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Oh Lord.
I kind of I kind of agree with that one. Like, don't end it all together, but you know, we do this thing where if I'm mad at you, then I'm not gonna have sex with you, and then
It's so stupid
depending on
though.
it is, but that somehow we have learned the greatest bargaining chip we have in a relationship is sex, at least with the guys. I don't know what the bargaining chip is for a chick. It's, I guess it depends. Like withholding for me, if I was in a relationship with someone who felt I wasn't doing something enough for them, the only thing that they could withhold is like communication, like not talking to me at all. That would drive me insane because I can't stand that. Um, so that I guess that would force me to do something different. But that's just me. Sex seems to be somewhat universal when it comes to men. My sex drive is half of what it used to be. That's why I'm tamed. That happens over time. So I hear.
Right. You're older, sir. So we're talking for men that's in their 20s and 30s, that is not the case. And there
Not
are some
always.
50-year-old men running around here, 50 and 60, like they in their 20s just smashing everything in
Still
sight.
both.
Like,
No,
what are you
yeah.
doing?
Well, that's the thing. So if the sex drive is still high, then it's still a very
Damn, I'm not old chick. No, but you're older than what you were when you were doing it. So you have piped down. I did
okay.
give an
Wait a minute.
example that there are men that are like 50, 60 out here wilding.
Yeah. How old are you, sir? Because now I'm curious. I don't think she was implying that, you're not
What?
smashed past it.
Oh my goodness, this
I'm sure
conversation
you're
is
very
funny.
smashed past it. I don't. Oh, okay. Well, look at that. Yeah, so now you're not old. We'll just you're not old. Trust me, you're not old. Um,
You know what? For me though, it depends on my chemistry with the guy that I'm with
yeah.
because I can be niggerish and be like, "That's all I want. Let's go." If that's not happening, let's just wrap this up.
I think we can all say there's at least one person in our past that's all they were for. Because you knew I can't. Chief guy.
I'm not even looking at these comments anymore. I'm done. Done with the comments. But yeah, like
We
I was
have
in a
one that
relationship where the guy actually withheld it because I was like, we were getting into it, and I was like, "What are you doing? Seriously? Well, I'm leaving. I'm out. You won't see me. Try this
oh
again tomorrow."
boundary. I
Oh,
mean,
that sounds so niggerish, but
but that, I mean, if that's what it was about, that's what it was about. I feel like that's a very dangerous card to play because it can backfire. In the case of guys, you could have a situation where you tell a guy, you know, until you can get this right, until you can get yourself together, I'm not doing that anymore.
why do
Okay,
women do? Okay, so let's be clear. Even though men have some children-like
tendencies.
tendencies, they are not children.
Nope.
So you're putting them on punishment and giving them a
Right.
time out
Right.
in the manner of sex, which they will go find it from someone else. And then
hmm
you're going to be looking around like, well, you should have been faithful. No, dummy, you shouldn't have withheld it.
We don't even treat children like that. Yes, we put them on punishment, we give them a timeout, but eventually they come out of timeout. So why do we treat each other like that? Some of us just want someone who got us. I think most of us want someone who gets us. And isn't that the whole point? Don't you want to be with someone who gets you? Someone, and I'm not saying gets you in a way where you're finishing each other's sentences, that's for twins, but where, like, I have some friends and it's only these two, only these two friends. One's a guy, one's a girl. We have worked with each other long enough that anytime this is when we all worked at a school together. There were times when administration would come in and say something real dumb, and we would just look at each other and slow blink. We knew exactly what we were saying to each other with these slow blinks, or sometimes it would be a fast blink. Like we were giving each other signals. We had gotten to know, we are really great friends. We have gotten to know each other so well that we have nonverbal communication. In
Mm-hmm.
dating, it should be the same way. You should have that type of connection where you guys can just give each other a look and be like, okay, yeah, we about to leave in 10 minutes because we can't handle what's happening right now. I'll meet you in the car. That should be the point. You should find or try to find
Yeah.
someone who gets you on that type of level. He's just smack me, cuss me out, and I'm turned on. Oh, he likes it rough. I'm just looking for love and laughs. Yeah. So that's the thing.
Sounds
He's looking
so
for somebody.
simple.
It,
What's really wrong with you? No, let me stop.
no. This is simple. He's looking for somebody who can handle his sense of humor and just look at him and be like, "You stupid," and move on, and not make it a big deal, or not take it seriously, and definitely not be like, "Oh my God, why are you like this?" Just roll with the punches,
Yeah.
laugh, and maybe even give it back to him, and then do a naked cuddle later. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know
Right?
what's happening
Just
right
throwing
now.
stuff out there.
Cheating,
Ah,
taking the cowardly route. It is. Because here
yeah.
again, if you are unhappy in the situation, you really should just sit down and have a conversation and explain to the other person, look, I love you, I care about you, whatever the case is, but I don't like what's happening in our relationship and I'm unhappy. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm unhappy because in therapy, therapists typically teach you to use your words. It sounds so simple and childish, but that's what it is. And you use I statements. I feel blah 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 blah. When this happens, it makes me blah 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 blah. Like the whole point is to use very specific language to let the other person know, in this situation, I feel like this, and I need you to know this because this is why I react, or
Mm-hmm.
this is why I shut down, or this is why we're at a standstill and not moving forward. So if we're not going to have, honest conversation, if we're not going to do I feel statements, the other person doesn't know what's going on. And so from their perspective, you're withholding something, and they can only stay around for so long before it becomes an issue for them, and then they make a decision, which is
Yeah.
usually, I'm leaving, I'm stepping out on you, I'm
But
looking for
here's the thing. Why don't people communicate that part? That's like a critical piece And especially a lot of times, because men are not great communicators by nature. They're really not. We expect them to be, but women are more vocal than men are. Men are not conversationalists, but also they're not made to be that way growing up. I think girls, we kind of come out the womb talking. I don't know. Our
You,
brains are just like
no,
active
no,
and it's like pop, 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 pop,
yes,
pop. So we
yes,
just run
yes.
with it. And boys, they're a
Statistically,
little
men blink
delayed and it's just
first.
a little bit of a
Yes.
wheel. Their wheel is
Yeah.
churning, but it's churning a little bit slower than ours.
Well,
So,
and I can tell you from side note, I can tell you from experience, we do talk first. We learn language first. We learn language easier. And if you think about developmental disabilities, the other thing I'm a specialist in, I suppose, it's usually, in some cases, it's girls don't get diagnosed sooner because they pick up language faster, but developmentally, that plays a role when we talk about those types of disabilities because
hmm,
boys talk even, it takes them even longer to pick up language. So
yeah.
we are farther ahead. So once we learn to talk, we don't stop talking. And then when we should be talking is when we stop.
I think that when it comes to the cheating aspect, though, why not communicate that you are unhappy? Like a lot of times, what is he? No,
I don't know
a
what
lot of a lot of
it's.
times men do not say, you know what, this relationship is not really working for me, or right now we're not seeing eye to eye. This is an issue to me. I don't understand.
I
No,
think
no,
they
no. I'm
do.
saying blatantly. I'm saying
Oh,
blatantly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Blatantly. But if you're a woman that's actually paying attention, you can see it. And it's
Hmm.
a lot of times they say things and they're like it's not blatant. It's kind of a underlying thing. Like um you know what it is, but they're not going to tell you directly. And then there's some men that do say stuff directly, and then women are just not listening. But for the most part, a lot of times men are not vocal in that area of communication and actually say, you know what, this is a problem for me, and I feel like I want to go elsewhere. A mature man will say that. But the men that are still in boy, still playing with G.I. Joes and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will be like, you know what, she don't do it for me, so let me let me go talk to such and such and see what's popping over there. Um,
Yes. Here's the difference, and this is why I am a huge advocate for there being. I still think men and women should be friends. There should be at least one, as much as you possibly can, platonic relationship, so you have someone who can explain certain things to you to help take the blinders off of your eyes so you can actually pay better attention. Yes, women are more verbal. We talk a whole lot. So usually when it comes to our feelings, we're able to be
express
very
them.
clear. Yeah.
Hmm.
Guys are about action. So when a guy is not feeling a situation anymore, he starts to pull back. 'Cause women notice this but don't take it for what it means. Well, you don't do this for me
Exactly.
anymore, and you used to do right. He's not doing it anymore because he doesn't feel appreciated enough, so he's going to start to pull back. Because why do this if you're not going to respond? And then if you're withholding something on top of that, why do I need to do anything at all? So now all those things I was doing for you, all those tokens of love and affection and, dinners and flowers and whatever else the guy was doing for you, he starts to take several steps back. And it's very slow at first. Like, okay, well, then it turns into now
Yeah.
I'm not spending a whole lot of time with you anymore. I'm out with the boys. I'm at my mom's house. I'm, doing whatever. I'm working a whole lot. Then it turns into I'm at the gym. I'm trying to get fit because I want to make sure I still look good. which turns into, oh,
When I leave you, no.
well, it's getting there. If Chip doesn't figure it out, it's getting there because while he's at the gym flexing and pumping iron and looking in the mirror, he's noticing, oh, she's been checking me out. I've been coming here for 2 weeks. She's been looking at me every single day. What's up? It flashes that smile. Next thing you know, they're working out next to each other, and then they become workout buddies, and now they're going for dinners, and they're doing this, and so now you're wondering why your man is not home, because he was slowly telling you he was disinterested, or at least upset with the lack of whatever on your part, or the withholding that you were doing. So no, they're not verbal. They're all action-based, very action-based. So you have to
And
pay
it's
attention
funny
to that.
because they are not the ones that give an action. When you tell them to take action, they be slow on the taking action. They move kind of slow. But anywho,
He said men don't want to see you move on with someone else. True. That happens
yeah, but
sometimes
then
too.
my question is, if men don't want to see you move on with somebody else, why is it okay for them to move on with somebody else within the relationship? That makes absolutely no sense. Then, so here's another thing. Since men are visual,
Mm-hmm.
if a woman was to step out on a man just like a man steps out on her, he would not be able to take it. So why are you dishing things that you can't take, sir? Because you'll be thinking about it. Everything that could have possibly happened when that woman was with that man is what you'll be thinking about, and you cannot take it. Most men cannot take that. Women, we're more forgiving. We're like, okay, that was one time. That was this, and we make all of these different excuses and all of these different things, and we emotionally we take the hit and be like, okay, well, let's work it out. But men usually don't do that. When a woman has stepped out on a man, a lot of the times men do not backtrack to that woman because they are visual creatures that be like, I just cannot with you because you did this, and
Right.
they don't think it's the same thing. That's the other part. Now, that part I don't get. How do you not think that you stepping out versus she stepping out is the same exact thing? Can a man answer that for me? Because that part I never understood.
I don't know. How about we end all of this? I'm a good man. You're a good woman. Oh.
This is not
Love connection.
that, or what's the doggone family that be singing together? What's the couple that sings? The stars and the stars, or whatever the song is that they have. The married couple. They be irking me because I'm like, y'all been in love for 20 years and y'all still singing about Kendra and the family. Kendra.
Oh my God. I can't
That's
with
what
you
it sounds
now.
like right about now. This is not
Stop
that.
the inevitable.
I'm done.
Apparently the
We are
inevitable
still
is
talking about relationships and can men and women be friends. I guess I guess he's saying no. I guess this is a no for him. But
I don't know. He's really trying
hello.
to be your friend.
But okay, so the other part is there a jealousy that happens if your significant other is friends with somebody of the opposite sex, and why?
Yes. Because I can say this from a personal experience. There's a jealousy if, for me, it's not if you had that friend before I showed up. You guys were friends before I showed up, so I don't care. It's what it is. Any friend that you've created, a friendship you've created while we've been together, that I'm going to be
Oh, that's
cautious.
different.
That's different, right? I think if you, I don't know, I feel like there's always going to be, maybe not jealousy, maybe jealousy is too strong of a word, but there's always going to be some maybe curiosity or like wondering, if this chick has been in your life for this long, how come the two of you aren't together? You know each other.
Mm. He
So
said because y'all share non-sexual intimate moments, which are stronger than non-sexual intimacy.
yes, that's emotional cheating. That's what I was saying earlier. That's emotional cheating. I
Hmm.
mean, if you, because again, that's what he was trying to say earlier, if you're confiding in that person, case in point, you're in a relationship, you have a male friend, your relationship is kind of sideways or your man is doing something weird, you ask your male friend for advice. As Mario has stated, you've now welcomed your male friend into your relationship because now he knows everything that's going on. And it kind of sucks if he knows who your significant other is too, because then that's a whole different situation. But if you're asking him all these questions or trying to get the male perspective from him, who has known you for years, it does get kind of weird. And then your man might be like, if your man finds out that you've been talking to him, why are you putting our business on his front porch? He has nothing to do with this. Why are you telling him anything? There's a lot. There's a lot of issue.
Mm-hmm.
Jealousy can occur because if you can so easily talk to him, why couldn't you talk to me? Is probably what the man's going to say. So I know as a woman, I would wonder that. We're having problems in our relationship. You can go and talk to her about every little thing. Why aren't you talking to me? I'm the
Mm-hmm.
other person here. Talk to me. Tell me what's wrong. Let us work on this. Don't talk to her about it. What is she going to do? Nothing except advise you in a way that may or may not work in your favor. And if she's interested in you, and she's been interested, had feelings, just didn't say anything, or didn't notice them until you started dating me, I can't trust that she won't try and lead you astray anyway. So now it's not even about jealousy. It's just the beginning of mistrust, which is only going to further escalate the issues we already have.
But my question is, if there's an issue of mistrust, was that issue of mistrust already there?
It depends on how open the person is to introducing you to that friend or bringing, because me, if I had a male friend that we are completely platonic, he's like my brother, and that's how we grew up, my significant other is going to know him because that's my brother.
Mm-hmm.
It's for me, it would be that simple. I don't know if it's that simple for everybody else, but I want my significant other to understand this is no threat. I swear to you, we're siblings. As far as anybody is concerned, we're siblings. So if I go to him, I'm going to him like a sister, like I would if I had a real brother. So don't feel threatened. Don't worry about this. But do know if you cross me, he's gonna come for you automatically, whether I,
And that was one of the things that actually cut. He made that up because he got a lot of women. Let me tell you,
I'm so done with him. I'm so done with him.
He and I have friends, but he has a lot of female friends, so he cannot say anything because he does not have friends that are of the same sex. I have both. I have both worlds, men and women. I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. Yes, you. Who talking about who me? Yes, you. You have a lot of females in your life. So for somebody who don't want to hear about dudes, what if the woman don't want to hear about all the women? You might get with somebody that go ham on you because of the women.
He said that's blasphemy.
He needs to cut the nonsense.
Oh my
Nonsense.
Nonsense, I tell you. I'm just saying, you could be with somebody who feels the same way you do about the opposite sex, about you being around all of those women, or well, the same sex for them, but you being around all those women, they might have an issue with that. Why is that okay? So, hello, hello. So you have to, whatever you're dishing, you have to be able to take it. If you are friends with a lot of females, then you have to accept that she'll have friends that are men. And you can't not make a difference between the two because
It's only fair.
it's not fair, right?
Well,
Like
and
it's a
then
double
you
standard.
have to build trust. You have to build trust. So if I'm going to sit here and tell you my male friends are just male friends, then you have to trust that my male friends are just male friends. But on the same token, if you tell me your female friends are just female friends, then I have to trust that your female friends are just female friends. However, now I'm going to say, well, let's agree that if we have issues, we're not going to run to all of these friends and just spill the tea on what's happening in our relationship, because for me, that's too many people. Even on my end, let's say I've got like 4 male friends. They're all like bros. I'm not going to tell all 4 of them the issues in my relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That's disrespectful. It just is. The one I might tell the one who is the closest to me, like if one of them is one that I've known since I was 8, then okay, that might be the one that I confide that type of stuff into, again, for a male perspective. But I'm still not going to give like a whole bunch of details. It would be very like, so when a guy does this, what does that mean? Give me the feedback. If he's like, well, is that what your man's doing? I'm just asking a question. I'm just trying to figure some things out. If it gets bad, I'll let you know. Right now, I'm just trying to get a male perspective. Again, this is me. That's what I would do. Not everybody's going to do that. But I think it's important to lay down that kind of expectation in a relationship. Like, we're not going to just tell everybody, because the more people you bring into your problems, now you're leaving room for jealousy. Now you're leaving room for mistrust. Now you're leaving room for things that weren't an issue before, and all of a sudden they are. So yes, you do have to be careful with putting restraints or constraints on who can talk to who or whatever, and acknowledging that if I have these friends, then you could have those friends, but even still, let's not bring all the friends to the party.
Yeah, because the same will be said about family. When you got too many family members all in your business,
And then they try to tell you what to do. If it were me, well, I'm not you. So, which is why you got to be smart about who you do confide in. Relationship stuff should be sacred. And whoever you confide in should be somebody who's got the wherewithal to not be judgmental and just give you the advice you're looking for in a very well, if you did this, this could happen. But if you did this, this could happen. Now the choice is yours. I mean, that's why therapists are employed, because it's a person who can give you help you find the insight to your problems without being judgmental, or at least they're not supposed to be, or telling you exactly what to do.
mm-hmm.
Ultimately, it's your decision. It's your choice what you're going to do, how you're going to handle. But it's nice to have somebody to just kind of say, this is happening. I'm not sure what I should do. I was thinking about doing this, but I was thinking about doing this too, you know.
I'm not reading no more these comments. That's enough of the comments.
Okay, but I got a comment on this last one. So I wonder, does that make a difference in how you would go to them for advice? Because if all let's say you're not joking, if you are joking, if all your female friends are gay, can does that change the perspective they would give you?
I wouldn't think so. Honestly, because they're still women at the end of the day. Um, Now some of them are just because, let me just say this. Just because a stud uh has the um same movements as a male does not mean that they totally think like men. That's a misconception.
Okay.
Um, so right, he's just saying nonsense. So I think that, and if you were to say this to them, I think that they might be offended because because they carry themselves as as more of on the male spectrum. You're
Mm-hmm.
automatically assuming that they want to be addressed as such. Not everyone wants to be addressed or made to be male, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So even in their thought process, they may not even acknowledge that part. They may just be like, I'm just a general thinker. So you can't say male or how they would think male or female. Because I will tell you, I know a couple studs and their thought processes are actually all different. It's not the same. So and they might be offended by that. You gotta kind of be
Possibly.
careful when you're talking about people's sexuality because um they might get offended with that. But to say the least, asking them the questions may not necessarily give you a male perspective. It may give you a female perspective. But all in all, at the end of the day, their breakdown is female. That's their
Mm-hmm.
basis at what they were born as. Now, what they identify with, that's something totally different, but they could still give you that perspective based on their own experiences if that is what they so choose. So I would knock what you get from that person or those people just based on how they're classifying themselves, because even some studs don't even classify themselves as male, they classify themselves as female.
Female. That's true.
So we
That,
can't just automatically assume that that's what they, you know, want to be referred to or any of that stuff. So you got to be kind of careful when you say that. He says, seriously, you just can't get too intimate with someone outside of your relationship. Wait, what happened? You gotta have boundaries. It's okay
it's
for
okay
them
for
to
them
be
to be
there.
there and how to, but when you think of them as a hero who rescues you, then it's a problem. It is because then you start to have damsel in distress complex, and then you're always going to that person.
Now, let me tell you, sir, you have told me about a couple of them friends that had that whole damsel in distress mindset, sir. So that's the conversation we need to be having. Okay, that's what needs to be in these comments here, because if they have this whole conversation with you and you are looking to date somebody, is she gonna be okay with the fact that they coming to you like a damsel in distress to rescue them from their husband? I don't think so.
See, and I think that's where a boundary is going to be. I'm Superman, so it's oh my god.
Right. And that's
Okay,
what they were talking. So
I'm gonna be right
anywho,
back because I need to get a cord before I disappear
no,
like I
no,
did the
no. I'm
last
gonna end
time.
it. I'm gonna end the
Oh,
live
okay.
because it's almost 10 o'clock.
Oh,
We've
isn't
been
it?
on here for a minute.
Oh
It's almost
wow.
ten
See, we
o'clock.
always lose track of
I
time. I love this.
know. So we couldn't continue the conversation
Yeah,
another day.
you can.
Um, Somebody told me I need to come on here more often. I'll think
You
about
do.
that.
You do.
I'll think about that.
What you know? What you should. You know, what'd be really cool. I know you're doing it like once a week, but I think like maybe if you did like twice a week, then you could have like two different topics, but you can continue conversations for the, you know what I'm saying? So like, let's say you did Tuesday, Thursday instead. If you did a relationship one on Tuesday and then like, I don't know, talk about finances on Thursday, if the conversations don't complete, then the following Tuesday you continue the relationship. The following Thursday you continue the financial, and then the third week you pick some two other topics. Because there's so much to talk about. I think that's why we keep, like, the last couple of times we've gone over 10 o'clock, and that's why, because there's so much to say. So you need to do more of these. I agree.
He said, now I need a smoke. He don't even smoke. Be quiet. But yeah, I think about that because these conversations get pretty deep, and I'm thinking about putting it on YouTube so that we can actually have this conversation and get more in depth about some things, because it's a little bit more difficult to have certain conversations on IG because you got people that be watching, and then they start reporting. It's a little less of that on YouTube.
YouTube. That's true. That's true.
So we can have this conversation again, but maybe we'll add a few more things, maybe we'll delve a little bit deeper into the sexual aspect. I think that'll be a little bit more interesting in how men and women think and their views on sex.
I also think at some point you should have a panel. That would be a really cool, like an in-person panel, and then just do a video with a table, just kind of like how Jada Pinkett does the Red Table Talk. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll be having to drive into a certain location.
I feel like we need to find, depending on who you want to be on that panel for whatever topic, you just need to find a middle space. See if there's a middle space.
I'll think about that. And if you have some suggestions for topics, make sure you send them to me. Let me know. And YouTube, that's all in the comments. If you have, while you talking nonsense, if you have any,
I'm sorry. Puppy dogs don't use baby oil. I'm just throwing that out there.
You really gotta give highlight what he's saying. He's done.
That's the most interesting side conversation I've had in a while, so I'm here for it.
He is clowning. Thank you for making this live funny. Because you've been clowning for the last hour or so. I am done.
And it keeps coming. Okay.
Thank you for joining live and having this conversation.
Oh,
and
no.
We will talk soon. Wait, no,
I
will not. No. You all have a good night. I'll let you know if we decide to do 2 times a week. I'll let you all know. All right, good night.
Bye.
Bye.